Tuesday Night Talk. Today I'm very glad to receive Monika Khot, alias Nordra, for our project. And I think we can qualify your music somewhere between noise, atmospheric music, and industrial. First, I would be curious to know what were the artists who influenced you, whether it is in music or other artistic field.
I think early on I had a big kind of IDM influence. Like Aphex Twin really influenced me a lot. I really am very interested in new music. There's a composer named Igor Wyckovich who French composer from the 70s who brought in new music elements and operatic kind of elements to sort of make rock orchestral music. And it just, the pairing of the two really inspired me. It just kind of showed me that you can make any kind of music you want, and it doesn't have to fit in a certain genre. I feel like it could be categorized as like chamber rock or something like that. But yeah, so I think classical music is kind of the undertone of a lot of what I do. And in terms of other artists, I really enjoy the like distortion, paintings of like this one Italian, Southern Italian painter named Agostino Arrivabene. He has a very beautiful way of distorting and making these like aesthetic landscapes that are very, very human experience oriented, but not realistic, not reality based painting. Kind of like Francis Bacon style warping of faces and things like that. But in a very, very almost ambient music inspired way where the colors are really pastel and like there's a beauty to it instead of the kind of ugliness of maybe, Francis Bacon kind of paintings. But yeah, I really like when beauty and disgustingness can live in one, So that's kind of my whole, I guess, fascination with art in general, any kind of format. Dance as well. I mean, I've seen really just, I've worked with a lot of dancers and they can do extremely ugly movements in such and create such a beautiful visceral response from their audiences,
I like to connect the dots between technique and creation on that channel, and I was quite surprised because when I saw you live, you were one of the few artists, if I remember well, who didn't have a laptop on stage, and you had this mix of keyboards, a boomerang, couple of loopers, guitar, effects. It was kind of messy and interesting at the same time, like chaos that was under some control. And so you could maybe tell us more about the kind of rig you are using. And also, I was wondering if you use this setup to create or if you compose on first on a DAW and then you try live to recreate something.
Yeah, good questions. Well, to answer the first question, I use a lot of live instruments. It's pretty much so that I can be present when I'm performing. I mean, I didn't really understand. We do a lot of things and we are very just in the dark of why we do them. So I started playing. I mean, I grew up playing in metal and punk bands, as a child, and instruments is kind of how I got into music. I didn't really. It wasn't. I'm not like a Gen Zer where it's just like you can possibly just get a DAW and that's your first experience with music. So it's just kind of what I knew and what I started to do. And then I started to realize, okay, there's this option where I can move to a laptop and I can do this this format as well, and it can result in a completely great performance as well. But I just decided that I like the pressure and the presence of needing to play a note correctly or play it exactly how I need to play it in the moment. It sounds really, I've heard people say things like that before, and I just never really believed them. And I've said it before, in the past, and I didn't, and now I don't believe that I felt that way then. It's really strange. But right now, I value presence in a much deeper way than I ever did before. And now I understand why I've been doing live instruments live, for my performances. It's just to put me on the stage, pretty much. What was the second question?
If you compose or create using this setup, or if you use a laptop in your studio, you were mentioning Pro Tools, so maybe this is just a recorder, or this is a DAW to write music.
It's hard to say. The Nordra music that has been released thus far, a lot of it, one record was just made all with my setup live. I actually prefer to make music like that. But the other records are dance scores, so I created that all in a DAW, and then reimagined how to play them live. So I can say that I've done both a lot, but I prefer the live creation, for sure. I like to physically interact with music. Actually, I just think it's a faster, more effective process for me. With the DAW, it's great. It's a utility for certain things, for sure. And I do a lot of really good work in it, but it's honestly a mixture of both. I pretty much make things live and then move them into the DAW and then try to reimagine them in a way that's physically maybe impossible for me, and then try to figure out how to do that live, essentially.
So what is the part of the amount, let's say, of improvisation in what you're doing live or when you write music?
The guitar work that I do is mostly improvised. It's not, it definitely has a structure. There's not a lot of improvisation in my music. It's very specific. If there's improvisation, it's because I haven't practiced a lot. Like, let's just say if it were up to me, there would be not a lot. Obviously, the reason for that is that I'm not able to let go quite yet. I'm not able to accept the present quite yet. Maybe a few years from now, 10 years from now, my music will be very improvisational. I just am not ready for that yet. I like to control things. It's like part of my programming. A lot of people I know have that programming, and some people don't. Some people are really free. They can let go. They can enjoy being present and making decisions on the spot. But when I'm alone on stage, I feel it's hard. It's taken me a lot of years to feel comfortable and feel power on the stage. So I think improvisation is just it's a hard ask for me at this moment, but I'm working towards it.
Power also in the sense that you don't let go, or also because you try to build some kind of wall of sound?
No. Yeah, because the first one, basically like power, self-power, I guess. Creating space for myself, being able to feel and be on the stage without thoughts coming in. How many people are here? All these people are looking at me right now. my G string just broke. Being able to adapt, have room to adapt to the present. That, I think, is power.
So this is a good transition, because my next question will be somehow maybe about this empowerment. You define your music as militant, ambient, industrial. I am very curious to know more about what this militant means inside this definition.
I wrote that phrase down a while ago because it just felt right. I don't know what militant means. I think that it meant, and could mean, or meant to my former self, that it's kind of like a disturbing, machine-like, non-human display of power. So I don't know, because it's some of my drum programming is a little bit more I guess persistent and like anxiety kind of provoking, a constant rattling of percussion it just reminds me of I don't know. I think militant was just the adjective I used for it at the time. Maybe just to describe aggressive persistence or something like that.
Okay, so I thought for a time that it would connect that with the some affirmative action, some political involvement that is a step aside from music, but still connected for you in a personal way. And you answer if you want, or if you find this relevant, because maybe this is very personal, I don't know. But as you were sensitive when we met to some political content, for example, about Noam Chomsky or this kind of things, I connected the dots in my mind that, this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the use of that adjective wasn't necessarily pointed towards any conscious political leaning I was involved in at the time, not necessarily. But subconsciously, I think that there's so much in just being a not to just bring this up, but just being I guess a brown woman playing aggressive music or whatever, aggressive, evil, I don't know, not light music. I think it's just fun for me to take the extremes. Like, yes, this is military music, It's just an extreme exaggeration. I love the extremes. That's part of my programming. Another thing that's part of my programming as a human. But so yeah, I mean, I have a lot of opinions, that some are good, some are probably not good. They change over time. But I think that the use of the word militant, now that you bring up politics, I mean, it can be just me grabbing from the depths of my insecurity to take something that represents power and just give it to me, and I don't think, I think that is a thing people do, and I do. But I don't know if I need to do that anymore. I think I found a new way of accessing power. And so basically, I'm going to lay that militant term to rest in describing my music.
You are also involved in, how is it very different from what you are doing in Nordra, or...
Yeah, I think it's very different from Nordra. I mean, you can probably hear that I write music for it, but it's quite different because it's currently it's kind of a rock band right now. It's a trio. It's very electronic based though. There's a lot of drum, like electronic drum programming and use of synthesizers. But it's kind of more of that like art rock, the Igor Wyckovic influence that I mentioned earlier. It's a little bit leaning more towards that, where it's electronic industrial rock, perhaps. I mean, there's definitely an element of industrial in it. So yeah, it's quite different. I sing, there's lyrics. I mean, like I'm playing guitar and singing primarily. That's my role in it. So it's quite different. I really like playing that music live. I prefer playing it live probably more than Nordra. But
yeah, I guess it's not true. It comes in waves.
It's not only on your shoulders. You can share the pressure.
It's just so much more fun to play with people on stage. It's just more fun for me. I mean, I'm trying to understand what that is currently, but yeah, it's true currently.
So I have a very special question for every guest. This is the same. What is your first early memories when you were a child or teenager connected to music?
Early teenager? I mean, truly just playing guitar in my room. I mean, I just, I had my own room eventually. And I mean, even when I shared a room with my grandma, I would just be playing guitar. It was my happy place. Like I'd come home from school and just close my door and I would just play for like 6 hours, like every day. I would play a lot. I was really interested in classical guitar, and it's just really addicting to play sheet music, practice, like playing etudes and stuff. It was very addicting for me. And so I just kind of really, really got into that. Yeah, so it was just my happy place of just learning music and, by myself. Yeah.
Okay. Monika, thank you very much for being with us today. If you enjoy watching this content, please like, subscribe if you didn't already, and I will see you on this channel very soon.